Some might have decided that Brie Larson was to blame for the failure of the Marvels. Others might have said Kevin Feige. Miss Marvel herself, Iman Vellani, has a different proposition. When asked by the press who she blamed for the box office failure, she was quick to point out, not her, not me. But who did she blame? Well, it might surprise you, it might shock you to know that Iman Vellani says, this is all on Bob Iger. Hello folks, welcome back to another wonderful video of excellence here on the WDW Pro channel. We exude excellence because that is what you demand of us, and we're happy that you do. That's what we also demand of entertainment, but it's not what we've been getting lately. And folks, we're going to dive into who is to blame today. A young star has something to say about the CEO of the Walt Disney Company. Might just shock you, and we're not really sure if this is a good or bad strategy. We'll explain right now. Out of Variety, it says Iman Vellani says the Marvels flopping at the box office is for Bob Iger to focus on, not her. What's the point, she says? That has nothing to do with me. So young Iman Vellani says that none of the box office problems for the Marvels has anything to do with her. Let's read the article and see if they are misrepresenting in the headline for clicks. Surely Zach Sharf would never do such a thing. Or perhaps Iman Vellani is starting to not be so excellent with the press. Let's see, we'll be fair as always. The Marvels is shaping up to the biggest box office flop in the history of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but that's no concern for star Iman Vellani. The 21-year-old actor makes her big screen debut in the superhero tentpole by reprising her role of Kamala Khan from the Disney Plus television series Miss Marvel, which, by the way, nobody watched that either. And yet we still like Iman Vellani because she's just positive, I tell you. In an interview with Yahoo Entertainment following the movie's disastrous opening weekend, wasn't that a bad one? Well, wait till they find out about the second. Vellani said the Marvels flopping is an issue for Disney's CEO Bob Iger and not for her. I don't want to focus on something that's not even in my control because what's the point, she said. That's for Bob Iger. The box office has nothing to do with me. I'm happy with the finished product and the people that I care about enjoyed the film. Does that conversely mean that the people who didn't enjoy the film are people that she doesn't care about? I don't know. It's genuinely a good time watching this movie, and that's all we can ask for with these films. It has superheroes. It takes place in space. It's not that deep. Let's all say that again, folks. It's not that deep. And it's about teamwork and sisterhood. It's a fun movie, and I'm just so happy that I can share it with people. All right, so let's find out. Panel, what do you think? Is the press being a little harsh with Iman Vellani, or is she stuck in an undesirable situation, a predicament where whatever she gets asked, there's no right answer to any of this anymore because, as I've said before, it's like calling in a doctor to discuss cholesterol at a funeral home. It's too late.
That's a great way of putting it right there. Iman is I think is a bright spot in this whole kind of thing that's going on, right? I mean, she's so bubbly, she's so genuine, she's so wonderful. Please don't be corrupted by Hollywood. That's what we're all hoping for. It's interesting. Now that the strike is over, I've seen my feed on Twitter just obliterated with all these celebrity quotes and everybody's twisting everything and what is it? The press is entertainment press is pouncing on everything everybody says, and it's just
pouncing again. Yes.
They don't pounce on themselves though, Vash. You know what? You never see the press come out and say, "Oh, here's the 57 articles we wrote in favor of what they were doing with the MCU, with Phase 4 and 5. Here's how we screwed up entirely. Here's how we're utterly divorced from the market. Here's how we don't understand North American society whatsoever. Here's how we don't understand the world that we enter when we exit our front door and out of the college campus that coddled us."
Right.
I assume a lot of these people didn't go to college, but I don't know.
Instead, if it bleeds, it leads, and we'll just leave all of that.
This bleeds. Bleeds, all right. And
one of the things I found interesting about this is that she pretty much blows up the press's narrative about the actors are the ones who are going to drive the box office up, because she's like, yeah, that's not really my job. I don't really have a lot to do with the box office. That's on Bob Iger. I thought that was kind of funny.
That is funny.
In addition, she defied the narrative, and she didn't say it was Bob Chapek's fault. So that's one bad point for her. I'm sure that's going to come up at her next performance review.
Hey, Bob
Culture,
Iger
what do
was
you
the head of
think?
creative, right? He took the job after he set Chapek into motion right there. So does he have some blame to this? I think he
I
does.
I I think she's more deft at handling press than any of her adult peers. I mean, I know she's 21, but I mean, if you look at put her up against other 20 somethings like Rachel Zegler or some 30 somethings like Brie Larson, I mean, she really has the chops to navigate what they're asking her and not and be prepared for the pitfalls, of what they're actually looking for. They're looking for something quotable so they can have a little clip. It's no different than the news media trying to find a soundbite. And in this case, I don't think she's given them much, so they've had to like really play around with what she says in order to have it fall within a particular narrative. And they, first of all, they're failing remarkably at that. But at least she understands the way the business works more so than probably people who've been in it. Again, her peers that have been in it for maybe 10, 15, 20 years. And she's a newcomer. People don't realize. I mean, she got the job because she wrote an essay about Captain Marvel. She loved, the character so very much. She'd never acted before, and they pulled her out of obscurity and turned her into this character. Well, I mean, it didn't hurt that she fit all of the little check boxes that they wanted, but she truly ended up being quite a joy and quite a find.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. Her entire filmography is Marvel, and
Yeah.
I'm not saying that as anything against her.
Oh.
Everyone needs their break, but
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah,
guys
there's no
do you guys think
disparagement
it
for that.
drives the media insane that we don't hate Iman Vellani? Because they expect that we will hate any young actress who comes out and makes a statement like this. Do you think that they does it blow their brains up that we sit here and say, no, she's cool. She's doing the best with what she's got.
Well,
Well,
yeah, I think. Oh, go ahead, Culture.
Oh, I was just going to say, I actually saw some content today that's a day old. A content creator went out there and started using all the typical, hate laden slurs, like, people who have yet to have sex in their life. There's other words for that they use to try to cast aspersions. But honestly, I see that, and it's so disingenuous. You have to look at things in such a craven way, and so more cynical than anybody I've seen on that covers it from our perspective. And it's so narratively driven, and it's untrue, and that's why nobody can cite examples when they're putting these videos or articles or things together. Kelly Marie Tran was run off the internet by a bunch of terrible right wing extremist trolls, and I'm like, you have like some documents or just a couple statements?
That's not necessary. Culture. They don't need backing for the narrative. Of course not.
Well, anyway, I just thought it was unique. Anyway, I interrupted you, Vash. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. I mean, I think you said it pretty well. If you genuinely believe what you write, what you put out there, what you present as the narrative, right? Yeah, I think there is one of these things that's like, well, wait a minute, they're not attacking this gal. Maybe they'll cherry pick some, tweets out of somewhere in order to create that narrative. But yeah, Pro, I think you might be onto something here. Obviously, the reactions of so many people are just don't simply comport to their reality, so they might be frustrated.
I do want to add one more thing here, is that I am sure that Iman Vellani has gotten some horrible comments sent her way. I am 100% sure of it, and maybe we've seen a few ourselves. Now, from a marketing standpoint for a film, it is a completely different tack when you have an actor or actress who says positive things about the people who have made the film and also the people who might watch the film than everything that we've seen with the strategy with Moses Ingram or any other number of films, especially with Rachel Zegler, how they go in and they say, you know what, if you don't like this, you're a horrible person. Well, if you don't like the Marvels and you're a horrible person, then I think you have said pretty much everyone on the planet, with a very small percentage, maybe 3 million people on the planet, other than the people who watch the Marvels, are horrible by that definition. You cannot give such a clear test to say, is this a good movie? No, you're horrible. No, this is a horrible movie, and no one needs to make anyone feel bad for liking or disliking this piece of corporate marketing.
What do you think about this strategy, though, of turning it on the CEO? I've never heard a young actress or actor do this. She had the opportunity to throw mud at the fans and say, the world is bigoted, the world is awful, it's filled with a bunch of ists. And she didn't do that. Instead of throwing it at the fans, she said, I like the movie. We had fun making the movie. It's about things that I like. And it's up for the boss to figure out when it fails. And I think that's an interesting strategy, to literally call out Bob Iger by name. She could name anybody. She didn't name her director. She didn't name Nia de Costa. She didn't name her co-stars. She threw it on Big Bob. What do you guys think about that?
Buck stops with him.
Yeah.
She's just agreeing with him, isn't it? She's just agreeing with him.
That's right.
I mean, he's like John said here. He's the big boss, right? It all stops with him. That's actually what he said, right? to what was it? Who was he talking to again back in the day when he said that quote? The buck stops here. Was it Hollywood Reporter or somebody like that? Anyway, doesn't matter. He has taken creative ownership of output. He likes to be the front man for all these different things and get all the credit. Well, she's just kind of laying it at his feet and saying, "Hey, this is this is your doing right here." Even though you have Alan Bergman coming out and talking about the 2024, 2025 slates and so forth. Bob Iger, like I said before, he placed himself as the head of creative when he handed off the reins to Chapek. And so a lot of these decisions, a lot of these movies that are in production, a lot of these creative decisions that were made, they went through him. So I think she might be spot on here.
Well, it's interesting. We'll be covering it. We'll be following. I suspect that as things get worse, that these actors and actresses are going to have a hard time. Kevin Feige especially. Why is Kevin Feige not getting these questions? And I might like it more if Miss Vellani were to say, talk to Feige. He's in charge. Who knows?
It has been interesting. He's been kind of quiet recently. Usually he does like a post film interview with like Entertainment Weekly or the Hollywood Reporter or Variety. We haven't really seen any of that. I think the last one we saw was after Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, where he was basically like, yeah, we're basically cutting back on all of our TV shows and our movies because we're spending too much money and we got to space them out. And we haven't heard anything really from him in a while. I guess he was at the Las Vegas party, but it was very controlled. I think he gave one interview to Entertainment Tonight, and that's pretty much all I saw.
All right, folks, that is a wrap for today. We're hoping that you have a wonderful day today, as well as a wonderful week ahead. You can help us have a wonderful time, too, by clicking the like button, share, subscribe, and when you click it, you stick it to the algorithms. It's the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. Do you think this is a winning strategy for Iman Vellani blaming Bob? Dang it, Bob! Or do you think that she should be blaming Kevin Feige instead? And what do you make of the idea that she is not throwing shade at the audience, a.k.a. you? Let us know. Folks, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.